Hi, here's another week in food in our household, and I hope you maybe get some ideas out of it. I think you'll start to see a trend. Food is pretty simple in our house, pretty straightforward. This was a couple of scrambled eggs, a couple of slices of thick bacon, that's white farmer's cheese, a cup of coffee, and that was Sunday morning. You know, some days I eat more, some days less. And on this particular day, breakfast was pretty much my meal. I just wasn't hungry, but I made this little plate for lovely mate. Talk about simple. Celery, some pimento cheese, and wrapped in some Coca-Cola, which is just thinly sliced meat, and a cup of coffee. And that was pretty much his meal. He ate very light that day. So it can be the ketogenic diet can be very straightforward, very simple, and it doesn't have to be a complicated way to eat. This is just some little tiny little sausages that came in a multi-pack at Costco, and that was kind of my midday snack. I think I ate another group of those. Now this meal was really simple as well. Just Italian sausages, pre-packaged, sauteed up some bok choy and some shiitake mushrooms, and slice some avocado with lime. I'm going to tell you, we'd never had bok choy before, and shiitake mushrooms are something that my husband had specifically asked for. He remembered them when we would eat out at a particular Asian restaurant, that he liked them. They're kind of meaty. And again, it's such a simple meal. Chopped up the sausages and then chopped up the bok choy and the mushrooms and put them in a pan. And with some avocado, you're good to go. Next day, this is kind of a weird looking thing. Maybe it's a bacon wrapped dinner beef frank. I just wrapped it in bacon and put it in the broiler, the oven, not broiler, for about, 20 minutes maybe. And that's homemade coleslaw on the side, which is just cabbage and mayonnaise, a little apple cider vinegar. Later that day, I met with a friend, and we solved all the world's problems over red wine and Asiago cheese. You gotta love your friends who are happy with red wine and Asiago cheese. And we did solve so many world's problems. The next day, now I want to talk a little bit about these things that you're seeing right now. These are patacones, which are made from very underripe plantains. They look like bananas, but they're not sweet, at least not when they're underripe. The patacones, known as tostones in other parts of the Spanish-speaking world, are a particular treat from Colombia, my husband's native country. And that's just another Italian sausage cooked up and more coleslaw the next day. And I'll put together a video about the patacones. Keep in mind, they are not on page 4, but we have found we can tolerate them. I went to the Fresh Market, which is a local market here, and their ground chuck is always on sale for $2.99. So I stocked up 10 pounds of it and cooked a couple of meals, portioned out most of it, but held out a bit. This was just really simple. This was like 2 hamburger patties worth, about 10 ounces of ground chuck in the pan. Diced up a little bit of bok choy, a little bit of tomato, and threw that in, threw some shredded mozzarella on top. And let me tell you what I like. I like one dish meals, because not only is Casey a lazy cook, Casey is a lazy dishwasher. So I like one dish meals. So this was, browned ground chuck. I had some leftover bok choy. I had a half a Roma tomato. Threw it all in there. There might be some shiitake mushroom. There's probably was a couple of shiitake mushrooms left over. Sauteed them up. Put the ground mozzarella on top. Pop that under the broiler for probably no more, seriously, than 90 seconds. Just to kind of bubble it up and brown it. And again, a nice avocado, some diced scallion, and the other half of the Roma tomato as a garnish. Put this in the middle of the table. We just dig in. And this was a lunch. We have kind of gotten on a swing where lunch is our big meal of the day. I'm fortunate that my lovely mate comes home most days for lunch, so I have the pleasure of seeing him. And we'll have our big meal, and that was my serving. Really good, really simple, flavorful, seasonings. It was just good. Another use of that ground chuck, this was about a 5 1/3 ounce, or a third of a pound of ground chuck, just in a burger, some bacon, sliced American cheese, sliced avocado, a bit of Roma tomatoes, some mayonnaise, a little reduced sugar ketchup, little mustard you can't see in there, and that's sitting on a cabbage leaf. We use cabbage leaves because we find they are sturdier than romaine leaves and hold together a little bit better. It's still a lovely juicy mess though when you're eating it. What a delightful thing. And the next morning, sometimes bacon is just breakfast. Sometimes I don't have anything for breakfast other than coffee. This particular morning I asked lovely mate to throw a couple of slices of bacon in when he was cooking his breakfast. So coffee and bacon was how I started my Saturday. And then I'm throwing this in, trigger alert, that is a basket of bread and a bucket of a pail of peanuts. We went to a restaurant. Our older son and his beautiful wife came to visit, and we went out to dinner, and my son can eat baskets and baskets of bread, and so he ate the bread. Little lesson here is it's okay. You don't have to eat the bread just because it's in front of you. So my husband and I didn't eat the bread, nor did my daughter-in-law. We ate this steak and green beans. It's really hard to go wrong with this particular meal. And most restaurants, you can find something that you can eat. It can be, just make sure that marinades are not full of sugar, but you can't hardly go wrong with the steak and a side of green beans. And these happen to be cooked in bacon. It's like the restaurant it was designed for us. We did have, both my husband and I, had a salad before with no croutons but extra bacon and eggs, and I had a side of blue cheese dressing, and he had, I had blue cheese dressing, he had oil and vinegar. Later that evening, I had my husband had his coffee and cheese, and I had cheese and these little pepperonis and a glass of wine. I end up most evenings with a glass of wine or gin and tonic or something. This was our weekend food for the most part. Now there's going to be a little different ending to this video in a minute. You're going to see some credits. These are folks, and I do want to thank them, that have sponsored my Patreon page. And so I want to give them credits. They literally are helping make these videos possible. Thank you so much, guys. I will be posting again. Look for some more videos. Thanks for the support. Y'all have a great week, okay? Ta!